You. Good morning, Cash. What you doing? Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about some of this today. Just a quick little update. I'm on my phone, actually. And my camera's off because I just don't feel like being on camera. But I know other people are live, so I'm going to just try to get this out. I have to run this afternoon. Otherwise, I would have done it this afternoon. But I have to drive into downtown Phoenix, so I'm just going to get it out of the way. Can you hear me okay, Cash, if you're still in here? I don't think you're still in here, but. All right, let me play this intro and then we will get going. If I can find it, you can hear Dexter wanting treats. Good morning, y'all. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful Wednesday morning so far. Like I said, I know other people are live this morning, so you guys can watch this again if you would like to. Please don't stop what you're doing, but there's been some stuff that's been eating at me and I need to talk about it and I need to address it. So bear with me. I'm on my phone this morning and I'm sitting outside getting some sun. So it's my happy place. I hope you guys are all having a good Wednesday too. And for those of you that have snow, I feel for you. I couldn't do it again. There's no freaking way. My old body could not handle snow. But I need to share with you a little bit of my heart. And by my heart, I mean why I feel so passionately and strongly about Sebastian Rogers' case. The 15-year-old boy who is on the autism spectrum, who has been missing for a month from Tennessee. As a mom to multiple kids with special needs, this is something that I have been sitting back and really attempting to process, and last night it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm so frustrated and I'm so angry, and please ignore me. I'm not really looking at comments right now. At social media, not just social media, the audacity that general media, mainstream media, Nancy Grace and all of her cronies have with what they're doing to this family. This isn't about awareness at this point in time. This is about finding and persecuting somebody that they think is guilty of something. We have no idea what has happened to Sebastian, unfortunately. If we're going on what law enforcement has released, Chris wasn't even in town. Seth wasn't in the vicinity. Katie sounds like a heartbroken mother, and things can be seen in multiple different ways. When you are looking at interviews that they have given with people on social media who have, let me remind you, no fucking right to interview them, they are deserving of nothing. And I'm specifically speaking to Smiley's World, because I tell you what, you are going to hear my true thoughts on her in the upcoming days. I just don't have time today. Like I said, I have appointments this afternoon. But that vile, vicious woman, and the audacity that she has to pin. Oh, hold on, you guys. Hold on. Whoops, pool guys are here. I had Dexter outside, so give me a second. Now he's barking at me. Hold on. Okay, pause. The audacity that these people have is unbelievable. In Smiley's world, I'm going to review one of her streams when she interviewed them and show you the comments she pinned with them on the screen. Now, let me remind you for a moment before I go into my dissertation. Law enforcement is the lead investigating agency, of course. The TBI is involved in this. The parents have not had charges filed against them. They're not in jail. Nothing. But because social media decided that they need a witch hunt to make somebody guilty of something, we don't even know what's happening. No clue. Assumption, speculation. But if you are a parent or a grandparent, I need you to listen for a moment. We ask the question, how is what these people are doing helping? Nobody has been able to answer that. Not one person has been able to tell me specifically, they're doing this, they're doing that, this is what they're doing to help. Not a single soul has been able to give me a suitable answer of this is what they're doing to help. Because they're not helping. All they're doing is a witch hunt to target a family. And if you think that family couldn't be yours, well, let me explain something to you. This is one of my biggest fears that I deal with on a daily basis, having 2 children with special needs. One on the autism spectrum, we know, was diagnosed, as you guys know, about 1.5 years ago now. But they have extreme trauma, extreme PTSD, extreme behavioral health issues, which is none of any of your business. Because they are beautiful, loved, amazing little girls. Kyle and I, who is not their dad, he's not their biologic father, I'm not their biologic mother, do everything potential that we could do for their best interest. Sometimes I question if I do too much, making them go to therapy, making them go to treatment, making them go to medication management, making them do occupational therapy, speech therapy. We do everything potential to give them the best outcome in life. But you can do everything and things still go wrong. When you have kids that have sensory processing disorders or neurologic issues, they cannot communicate their feelings and emotions adequately. That is very common. It is hard enough for a teen not on the spectrum, not with behavioral health issues, not with trauma, to have a hard time communicating their feelings. We live in 2024. The pressures of the teenage world aren't like what they were when we were kids. It is so much different. And these kids bottle things up. They don't know how to process. You think you have an open and honest relationship with your kids. You can think you're doing everything perfect, because we're seeing all the perfect parents come out of the bushes lately. All of you need to sit the fuck down. Because if you think for 1 second this couldn't be your family, what they're doing, my God, it is my biggest fear that one of my girls decided to go missing, to walk off, because sometimes life is too much. And we as adults should understand that sometimes things are just too much. And to know that what social media would do, watching what they've done to Chris and Katie, Kyle would be Chris. You guys would have him guilty of all sorts of stuff in 2 seconds. Mind you, Kyle's never laid a hand on my girls. He's never done anything but love and care for these kids. But because of social media, he would be deemed guilty, even if he wasn't even anywhere in the vicinity. Watching how you guys terrorize Chris and Katie makes me absolutely disgusted. And you fools sit there and think you have the audacity to pick apart this family's life. They live in a beautiful neighborhood. They have a beautiful home. They could have been doing everything right. Their parenting style might not be your parenting style, but guess what? That's not your children. Obviously, they had interaction with CPS. I have had interaction with CPS, as you guys know. Not a single fucking case has ever been opened because There's no need to open cases when there's nothing there. And we know on social media how frivolous CPS calls can be at times and how stupid they can be at times. Doesn't mean they're guilty of anything. Obviously, he wasn't removed. But because social media decides that they need to make somebody the one that did something, even though we have no idea what's going on, they have picked apart every little thing. It is mandatory for them to open a CPS case when a child goes missing. It's mandatory for you to report certain things that happen to a child. It's common sense. But because social media needs a villain and needs somebody to blame for this child missing, they have determined that they can just tear apart this family. He's the stepfather. You guys don't like how he talks. He's arrogant. He speaks over people. He's assertive in his answers. That man has more integrity than most of you fucking fools on this internet. He is standing up for his wife, who he loves and cares about. That's what a partner does. A partner stands in front of the other one and takes the hits when the other one can't do it. That is where partners come in. They're supposed to pick you up when you're falling. And that is what Chris is doing for Katie. Right, wrong, indifferent, it doesn't matter. It's not your business. That's what a partnership is. That's what a marriage should look like. Again, let me remind you, law enforcement said he wasn't even in town. But I can easily put Kyle in Chris's shoes. And the internet, oh my God, the stories you could make out of the skeletons in our past. Oh my God, even though none of us have anything major. But you guys could make it into anything you want. And to sit there and watch JLR and Betty, who don't even have children, who say that they're children's advocates, be so ignorant about the reality of these situations. I bust my ass. I do more for my kids on a daily basis than most of you fucking do all month. My girls are 24/7 monitored. My girls are loved beyond measure. We do everything possible for them. But you can do everything and things can still go wrong. I've shared with you before that I've had to use crisis response because you can do everything right and shit can go wrong. Sometimes it is impossible to understand what is going on in a teen's head, let alone a teen that might be on the spectrum. You people need to reevaluate because this could be any single one of your families. And to watch some of you have the audacity that you're owed something from this other family who doesn't even have major skeletons. Guess what? They can all pass background checks. The rest of you don't seem to be able to. They've had no DV. They've had none of this. They've had none of that. Good jobs. Hardworking family. But because they need a villain, they need somebody to blame even though nobody knows. Here it is. And I'll be damned if I don't speak on this. Because you guys are on such a witch hunt to blame somebody for something. None of you have any credentials to even be interrogating these people, pointing out red flags. None of you have any clue. Never worked in the field. None of you have the credentials to even work with these children that you're trying to analyze and go over. And yes, I can say that because I do. That's why I'm arrogant about having the credentials, because I've done more training, more involved stuff to even try to help my girls than most of you do on a daily basis. I can speak for most of my autism moms when I say that this is their biggest fear and they give up their lives. They sacrifice their identities to care for their kids. For so many of my autism moms that surround me, they have become their children's saving grace. That is all they do is advocate for their children. That is their identity because it's became a lifelong thing that they constantly are advocating for their children and their best needs. And it doesn't end at childhood. It carries on into adulthood. So you have missing adults with the same things. You have missing children. It doesn't matter. It is a lifelong process for so many of these families. And to watch you guys dig apart this family and terrorize them because you need a villain, right? I'm still hopeful that Sebastian will be found. But I am so sickened by what this is doing. I I talked about it a little bit yesterday. I came onto this app because people were exploiting somebody who attempted to commit suicide. Think about that for a second. We're at the point in time in the world where it's okay to exploit somebody's worst moments in their attempt to take their life because they couldn't deal with the demons in their head. And then we have people who say, oh, their mental health isn't in good shape. Meanwhile, they've been okay with exploiting somebody who attempted to take their life. If that doesn't register with you as something ultimately horrifying and sick, and if you think that your family couldn't experience that either, you live in an alternative universe, because this is the reality. Unfortunately, many people are dealing with mental health issues. It is 2024 and the stigma needs to be broken. And this is why parents with kids with special needs feel so lonely and isolated, because of fucking clowns on the internet, because they pick apart every little thing that they say. If one of my girls was to go missing, oh my God, they would go back through the videos of Kyle and I, and they would twist and turn every little thing we have said. And we would be guilty. Even if we weren't home, we'd be guilty. I have people in this chat who are a lot of fellow autism moms, a lot of fellow people raising children that aren't biologically their own, a lot of people who have experienced loss. Have a good day. Sorry, guys, hold on. Sorry, guys, pool guys here. We have so many, and their lives would be torn to shreds if something happened to one of their loved ones. And some people have lost people. They've had people go missing. They've experienced this. But thankfully, I've heard over and over again, I'm so glad that social media wasn't a thing when XYZ went missing or XYZ took his life, or, I hear that all the time. And that shouldn't be the reality of this. These people are not trained. They're just common Joe Schmoes like most of us. Most of them have worse records than any of the rest of us. Most of them have no background or no skill whatsoever with working with children. But yet they want to sit here and condemn the rest of us. I tell you what, if one of my girls ever goes missing, you won't hear her fucking hiding her hair of me talking to a goddamn YouTuber. That's for damn sure. Because they aren't owed a goddamn thing, nor are they ever going to pick apart my life and blame Kyle for something when he has done nothing. There is good men out there that will step up. You guys are trying to make it sound like after Katie and Seth divorced, that she wasn't entitled to find love again. How dare she let another man be around her child? How dare she do this? Oh my God, how dare she want to be loved again? How dare she want something for her and Sebastian in their lives? You can have your views, but she is an adult. And just like the rest of us, she's entitled to have relationships. You don't have to like it. You're not a part of their life. So many of my fellow moms in here, a lot of them are my mods, are sickened by the disgusting behavior, because these are our biggest fears that we deal with on a daily basis. Because you can do everything right, let me say it again, and things can go wrong. When you have a kid with a neurologic, I don't even want to call it neurologic, a processing issue where they don't communicate, it's hard enough right now. You can think your kids tell you everything and they still have secrets. Kids are smart. They're intelligent. We all know that. But this is so many of their biggest fears of their kids escaping. What would they do? And if social media shouldn't even be a thought to anybody of what would happen if social media picked our lives apart. That shouldn't even be a thought. Nobody should even have to worry about that, because most of these jackasses who are picking apart the lives of others have more skeletons in their closet that they don't ever want to come out. This is disgusting. And to see some of these people be okay with it, and to sit there and go through every single thing that they said and did, and Oh, well, the tone right there, this to try and make them guilty of something. Now, let me remind you, these people aren't going into looking at these interviews with an open mind. They are there to find something to get this family to fuck up and say something that they don't like so they can run with it. That is the intent of every one of these interviews. Not one of them has been to support and stand with the family. We have all these people that claim they're bringing awareness and going over Sebastian's case in depthly. Meanwhile, they don't, again, have credentials. They don't know what the fuck they're even doing. They're not certified to work with children, let alone fucking go over a case like this. And their intent from jump is to find issues with what they've said. That is the intent. So what do you think is going to happen? Of course, they're going to find things wrong with it. If you take it at surface value for what it is, it's a conversation. When he answers the question, you might not like the answer, but he's telling you flat out, yes, no, indifferent. You don't have to like the fucking answer. And I tell you what, you want to call me an arrogant fucking asshole? If I was in Chris's shoes, Smiley was pinning the most disgusting, vile comments. Again, Chris wasn't even in town. Law enforcement has said that. But, oh, social media has found completely different. It's disgusting. Yep, Cash, 100%. Their intent is to fucking jam up this family. Their intent has never been to find Sebastian. Think about this, friends. It's never been about Sebastian. If it was about Sebastian, they would put all this other stuff aside and say, okay, let's do whatever we can to help bring awareness for the family. Let's do that. No, they're focused on trying to make somebody guilty of something that they don't even know. Instead of finding Sebastian, they're too busy worried about hemming up this family, picking through every little thing in their closets, their toilets. Shit, they probably even went through their fucking well at this point in time. It's easy content. Absolutely, Revival. It's easy and people are drawn to it. Until it's them, until it's one of their loved ones, until it's somebody they care about. It's really easy when you're picking apart somebody else that's, 1,000 miles away that you don't have to worry about what they say, right? It's easy, low hanging fruit to try and make somebody guilty of something. And to watch all these people be the perfect parents. I don't agree with some of the parenting techniques that I've heard them talk about. No, I don't have to. But I also know that you live and you learn too. That people do make mistakes. And if you can't say that you've ever made a mistake with parenting your children, then geez, you deserve your own planet at this point in time. You might as well just be a Scientologist because, my God, you are probably 1 in 100 million that you are the perfect person that did everything right. Absolutely, Thor, and we're going to discuss that too a little bit. Hopefully tomorrow I don't have appointments tomorrow, so I want to do Smiley and JLR tomorrow again, but I hope law enforcement steps in. Somebody needs to advocate for these families because right now it's never been about Sebastian. It's never been about Sebastian for any of these people. It's about trying to victimize and re-victimize these families for clicks and views and monetary gain and trying to find a villain of a story they don't even know the ending to. These people aren't going to do anything. Even if they did find something out in their interview, they're not going to do anything with it. It has to be turned into law enforcement because none of them have their credentials to do a goddamn thing with it. They can run with speculation. Let me tell you, if one of my girls went missing, like I said before, you guys would all say Kyle this, because Kyle he's not PC. He says what he says when he says it. And I tell you what, he would be arrogant. He'd be fucking blasting people right and left. He would be fighting with you guys, telling you to fuck the fuck off if you were to do this to me, like you guys have done to Katie, because that's what a man who loves their wife, their partner, does. That's what a real man does, is he stands beside, in front of, and takes the shots. Whether you guys like him or not, I happen to like him. I don't agree with all of his parenting styles, but I like how he has stood up for Katie. And so many should respect that, but they don't. They find issues with it. And you wonder why most of them are single. Because they're insufferable, fucking miserable bitches who just wants to condemn other people. Meanwhile, they have more skeletons in their closet than all of us. My God, one of their records has like me and all of, way more than me and more my mods combined. And I have like 15 mods. And one of them has a record deeper than all of us combined. And that's just one of them. My God. Why did I get arrogant yesterday and show my fingerprint card? Because I have to pass a fingerprint clearance to be skilled even and take the classes that I need to help my girls. Think about that. And these people claim that they're children's advocates. I'm just a mom who wants to do anything possible to help my girls. So I got certified in all sorts of different shit because it matters to me, because I want them to have every possibility. But if social media got a hold of that, they would be like, well, what are they trying to hide? What are they trying to cover up? What are they trying to do? Oh, Kyle had to do it. Kyle's been divorced. Oh, I wonder this. I wonder that. Fuck yeah, we both have been divorced. Best days of both of our lives. And so have many of the rest of you. And we found each other afterwards. Woo, whoopty shit. Again, they're condemning Katie because she, after her and Seth separated, she met Chris and they got married. How dare anybody want to have a partner? Wow. And if you have a child with special needs, or if you have a girl, and if something happens to them, it's automatically your fault. You people are fucking sick. Absolutely fucking sick. We've gone from blaming people for suicides, exploiting people's mental health and suicide for clicks and views and monetary gain, to now exploiting a child and his family for clicks and views and trying to pick out a villain. Oh, absolutely. Accused of grifting off the government, accused of all sorts of shit. Meanwhile, Revival and I run fucking circles in 2 hours around every one of those assholes on the internet, chasing our children around and trying to give them the best lives possible, along with many others in here. Kathy P, T. Marie. So many of my wonderful mods. Cash runs circles around all of us all day long. I can't ever keep up with Cash. Let's be honest. But we do everything. I just can't. Am I wrong? Or how do you guys feel? I'm going to go back up and read some of these. Yep, Marcy, absolutely. Teachers have to. That's why I crack up when Molly says she's a mandated reporter. That bitch ain't a mandated anything besides a fucking eater. Like, these people are the most disgusting, vile humans of anything. And anybody's giving these people credence to attack these families and thinking it's okay.
We checked the sausage. I don't know how to check it and make sure it's cooked. I think I...
Turn your burner down some.
It is down.
Yeah, you're fine.
Leave it there for a couple more minutes.
It's gotten so... Oh, yeah. Yep. Kyle and I. Kyle barely raises his voice. Has Kyle and I ever even yelled at each other? Honestly? No. Huh?
When you guys first started dating.
Oh, yeah. When we first started dating, there was one time.
Yeah.
Once. Yeah. In what, 7 years? 7 years. One time he's raised his voice. He's never even remotely lifted a finger towards me. Nobody. And he loves his girls so much. But they would have him, oh my, tarred and feathered, let me tell you. Oh, Ringo, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I just am speaking from a place of common sense. Like, this is common sense. You don't even have to have a child with special needs to understand what I'm saying. This could be any single one of our families. This has gotten so bad. This has gotten horrifying. Yeah. This has just gotten to the point where nobody, like, social media could have such a good purpose, purpose to bring awareness to these cases, to help find them. But they're too busy trying to condemn a family. And fucking Nancy Grace, she is a travesty and always has been. Whoa. Hold on, you guys. Sorry. I'm getting the ice. Give me a second.
I made you one.
My girls' schedule. That was another thing I was thinking about. My girls' schedule. You guys would shit. And they would say, they would have, social media would have such a fit. They would say, oh my God, she is such a strict parent. She is so stern. Like those poor kids, they thrive off of structure and stability. Kids with special needs have to have structure and stability. It's what they thrive in. It's the environments they thrive in.
Off of it though, like they lose what they're doing. Like they don't know what to do.
Positive reinforcement is something that most people don't even really understand, because a lot of us come from a generation of spare the rod, spoil the child. Spanking was a thing. I got the shit kicked out of me with belts, huge boards, all that stuff. Do you think I've ever done that to mine? Hell no. Hell no, because I don't believe in that. Some people do. I think it's not my thing. Spanking is not corporal punishment to me with special needs kids. Never connects. Kids do not connect to any of that. It's considered abuse, in my opinion. Again, different parenting styles, different generations. But to watch some of these people who are so entitled, who don't parent, who have never worked with kids with special needs, who don't even have the know-how or where to start with somebody, criticizing this family this way. Oh my God. We compare them to the Wells, what they've done to the Wells. So the Wells were shitty parents because they couldn't provide a safe and decent home for their children, which I agree with. I don't think they were good parents at all. However, their life circumstances and where they live is another thing. We see many people who live in destitute housing. We see a lot of it. Does it make them the worst people ever? No, definitely not. But now we see a family that lives in a decent neighborhood. A $500,000 neighborhood is what one of the streamers was making it out to be. And oh my God. Well, see, they have this and this and this. And now they shouldn't have all this stuff, that Sebastian was just a cash cow for them. Or they're making so much money off of Sebastian. That's why they can afford these things. No, Chris has a good job. That's how they can afford those things. My neighborhood, fucking super nice neighborhood. Super nice. Common subdivision in Arizona. No big deal. But there would be something attached to it. These people can't just live their lives. These people are trying to do their best. Now, granted, there's still a lot of questions. We don't know where Sebastian is, but the focus has never been on Sebastian. It's about making a villain in this story. And all of you that are sitting there picking through their interviews and condemning this family, I hope to God you're never in these shoes. I hope to God that you never find yourself in this place where you might not understand what your children are going through. Because if you understand everything that your children are going through and think you know it all, like I said, you deserve your own fucking planet, because you are above all of us. And if you don't have the audacity to say that you fuck up as a parent, if you can't say that and say that you've made mistakes as a parent, we all do. That's human nature. And if you can't apologize to your kids and try to do better, that's called growth. That's called living life. We all have shit in our past. And if you can't sit down and think for 1 second, oh my God, if they tore apart my life, look at what the shit they would find, and look at the shit that they would find an issue with. I'm not afraid. And that's one thing I have said from the get-go. And that's why I think it's so different for me on this internet versus a lot of the other people I am around. I don't have a fucking thing to hide. Not one of you will ever come into my life and tell me I'm doing something wrong or have an opinion on the way I live my life. My girls are a reflection of how I live my life. My girls are happy. They're as healthy as they possibly can be right now. They're amazing. They're kind. They're compassionate. And they struggle. They have everyday struggles. We go to therapy. We do all sorts of extra things, trying to give them the best possible outlets. They go to therapy on their own. They know that they can say anything that they want. If they're mad at me, they can talk about it. They can vent. They can say anything. they're having problems at school, they can talk about it. Again, kids are unpredictable at times. You think that they have an open line of communication, and they still hold back things because a lot of those kids are afraid of what it will do to their parents because they love their parents so much. So a lot of times they don't want to burden their parents with some of the things that they're going through. So they keep it locked up, and it really eats at them. Adults do the same things. These are human nature. This is human nature. This is what life is. And to watch people pick apart this family the way they are and chastise them over some of the craziest shit when this is the intent. It was never about Sebastian. It was always about finding a villain and crucifying this family. Oh my God, Heidi's mind. Yeah. I'm so thankful you did that, Thor. I'm really thankful because somebody needs to advocate for that family and stand up for that family. And I really appreciate you doing that. Normally, I'm against calling places like that, but this is stalking and harassment, and they're following the family around, and that's a safety issue. And that is law enforcement in the campground absolutely needs to know. And I really appreciate you doing that. Yep. That's all that people can do. No, Ringo, no. Not yet. Sooner or later, we had a $17,000 shower glass to pay off. So that came first priority and then getting established in Arizona. But sooner or later, he will. Absolutely, Kim, I agree with you. Sorry, I'm reading comments now. Dolly Vision just disgusts me. For him to even attempt to chastise this family when he can't look in his own backyard. And again, I'm not saying anything about him because I know he's not a P or anything like that. But when you have the family history around you, if one of them, if Dolly's daughter or son, I don't know what if he has what gender of kids, so don't get me for that because I don't know much about him, thankfully. But whatever his child is, if they weren't missing and they started looking at his family's history, can you imagine what the internet would do? Can you imagine? And I don't have anybody around me that is like that. And here's the other thing I was thinking of. My sister is an addict. As you guys know, she's in prison. And if she was to be released and something was to happen, say one of the girls went missing or something, people would automatically condemn her to, well, she didn't love her girls enough. It's never been about not loving her girls. That's not why she's not in their lives. She loves her kids. Addiction is a bitch and it's a beast. And she loved her girls enough to know that she couldn't provide what they needed at the time. And she let me do it. That's what that was. It's never been about not loving them enough. She loves them in her full capacity. But sadly, addiction has taken over her life. And she loved them enough to want the best for them, not to put them through what she knew her life was going to look like. I won't ever condemn her for that. That's what love is putting somebody before yourself. That's what love is. Has she made mistakes? Absolutely. Do I resent certain things? Absolutely. That's addiction. That's called reality. And all of you, well, most of you have dealt with somebody that's an addict and can understand exactly what I'm saying. A lot of you raise your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews, other family members' kids because of addiction. But think about if social media got involved. Just take my story, for instance, because I've been open with you guys about how it would be. Can you imagine what they would do? And most of you that know Kyle know how Kyle is, and you know who Kyle is. Kyle is the kindest, gentlest soul. Mackenzie loves him to the end of the world. The girls love him so much. He's never even raised, he barely will give him a soda if I'm not around because he doesn't want to get in trouble with me if it was past the time that they can have sugar. Like, and that's not a joke. Like, he does not want to overstep because he doesn't want to affect them in a bad way and he doesn't want to get in trouble with me. He'd never get in trouble. He's allowed to do what he will, but he's still he asks me for help. He wants to make sure that everything's okay because they are on such a structured routine. Thorin, and I agree with you. It is all about standing up against these people. But I see some of the very people that claim that they're stand against this sitting in chats condemning the parents and picking apart their interviews. How is that helping? That's not bringing awareness to the bigger picture here. They're doing the same thing the rest of them do. Meanwhile, tiptoeing around, calling out the bullshit and how horrible this actually is because they don't want to lose followers because they might offend somebody if they share followers with Dolly or Betty because there's been a lot of back and forth fence riding bullshit. A lot of people have fence posts stuck up their fucking asses again because they tiptoe here and there. It's never been about the followers. I lose followers all the time because I offend people and I don't give a fuck. I'm going to continue to do it. I'm going to continue to speak from my heart and speak the truth. I'm sorry. If you don't like what I'm saying, it's because it's fucking true. And that's the reality. I'm not being a Betty, but this is true. Any of us could be in these situations. And when social media decides that you're going to be guilty of something, that's what it's going to be. See, Heidi, you would be chastised up one side and down the other. And God forbid you made a mistake. Whoops. And you're an amazing human being. Whoops. Like, fuck. Yeah, abso-fucking-lutely, little Irish girl. That little red dot would fuck. Yep, they would. Little Irish girl, I am so proud of you. That is an incredible feat. Incredible feat. And I will never give up hope for my sister. I will never give up hope for her. I love her dearly. Like that's my sister. And just knowing what social media would do. Like in my circumstances, social media would have a heyday because there's a lot of skeletons. We've been through a lot of shit. The girls have had when I say that the girls have had more trauma in their life than a lot of grown-ass adults, it's true. And it's unfortunate, but it's the reality of it. And when you expect little ones to process the torment and the torture and the understanding, kids think, why am I not enough? All the time. They always blame themselves. So many kids. And so many teens, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be on the autism spectrum to have a difficulty communicating. Adults have a difficulty communicating if we can see anything. Communication is lacking out here. Yeah, Thor, I'm the same way. Kyle sugarcoats a little bit more than I do, but not very much. This has gotten so far out of... Little Irish girl, I'm so proud of you. Congrats. That's a huge feat. Any of you suffering with addiction, in active addiction, just remember you still matter. You have a purpose. Addiction is a beast, but it's not just substances. People are addicted to religion. People become addicted to alcohol. Like there's so many different substances, and you see people who struggle with substance addiction, like to meth, to H, to all of those, get chastised. But then people who are addicted to religion and use religion as their substance and meanwhile abuse other people, they get a pass. Tell me what's wrong in this picture here. When in reality, they do just as much, if not more harm with their religious addiction than they do with the substance abuse. It is what it is. Okay, I'm going back up. Corrine, I want to smack the ever-loving shit out of Betty. Anyways, thank you guys for listening to my heart. I just had to get this off my chest. It ate me up last night. I was laying there just thinking about this. I was like, this is so... No, Revival, we're leaving caffeine out of it. We can be caffeine addicts because it's the only thing that gets us through the day. And you know what? That's the thing. Like, all of us, if you sit back and think about all of the shit that social media, like really honestly, I'm challenging you guys to sit back and think about, okay, if I was in these shoes, put yourself here for a moment and think about the past and the people around you and circumstances in your life and things that you have gone through that social media would get a hold of and dig apart and twist and turn. It might have a very simple answer and a very crazy answer, but they will make it into something. Sit back and think about those things. Sit back and think about if they want to condemn you for something, what they're going to do and what they're going to use. And then think about the people doing it. Smiley's world. Bitch, you need to learn how to fucking put some eyebrows on, you stupid. Ooh, I almost said the C word. I won't. But that is one she's worse than Betty in ways.
They're on the counter if you want one, but I took the sausage out because they're
Hurry up and grab him. Kiki's out here. Yes, it's homework.
You eat some grass?
It's homework, Cash.
You're not eating grass.
I hope so, Kim. I hope so. And I've said it behind the scenes quite a bit. That would be one charge I'd be willing to take. You put me in this situation that Katie's in? Sorry. I'm going to jail, and it's not for harming my child. It's going to be for harming one of these fucking idiots on YouTube. 100%. Unsupervised. 100%. Oh, meow. You can smoke. I smoke too. Okay. We all have our vices, people. Like, just think about it for a second, though. If they wanted to tear your life apart and go back through your skeletons in your closet, most of us lock those skeletons away for a reason, because that's our past and people move forward, but they don't let people move forward if there's anything like this. Now, yeah, you can say we still don't have answers here. But the thing that we have to go on is we have to go on law enforcement's words. Law enforcement is the lead investigating agencies into these, and they are trained specialists. If those people have not put the family in cuffs yet, then we sit back and wait. It was never about Sebastian. It was about condemning the family and claiming that they did something. People aren't seeking the truth. People aren't seeking to find Sebastian. They're seeking drama. They're seeking villainizing somebody. They're seeking to find problems. Good morning, mother of two boys. Oh, I would too. Little Irish girl. Absolutely. File 2020. That guy is, see, and that's the thing too. Like, these are fucking not people I would want in my neighborhood. These aren't people that I would allow around my children on a daily basis, let alone on social media. These are not people I would allow around my family. Dolly Vision, Betty, JLR, because I love my family and I protect my kids. I wouldn't let a single one of them around my family. That says a whole lot. And I don't say that about shit. But those three, never. Never, never, never. Hey, Hope. Cash. I can't with this shit anymore. It's so disgusting. I'm so sick and tired of these people claiming that they give a fuck. No, they don't. No, they don't. They don't care. It's just another case for them. They'll be on to the next thing. Look what they have done to Summers. Look at this community. This is the same community who has done this to Summers community acting up again. The same people doing the same shit again. How many more? How many more times are we going to see this? I saw enough of these people from what they did to Quentin Simon. They get off on this, destroying people. Chris has more credibility than most of these people doing the interviews put together. You don't like his answers, so be it. They're his answers. Take it for what it is. Back in the 70s and 80s, before there was social media, people actually used to go out and search for missing people. They would actually put their time and energy into awareness and bringing, things to light to try and find missing people or what happened. Now it's finding the villain and having a public bash session on them. I was going to say something else, but yep, never. I would never let these people be around my children. What's this? Probably we have to pick her up at 12:30, like 12:45ish, 1:45. I don't know how bad traffic is going in at that time. So sorry, guys, we have to drive into downtown today. So I figured an hour drive. Yep. Unsupervised, 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. Unsupervised, did you made a post about, I think it was Brittany J, and making fun of their last name? Did she take those videos down? I'm wondering. I've never watched her either, but saw your post and I was like, imagine that. What I've heard about her isn't very good either. Thor, 100% agree. No, I think her car is actually in the shop. Sorry, guys, I'm sitting outside. Absolutely, Kimberly. Yep. Yeah, exactly, Kim. Look at his past. There's no fucking way. Yeah, beer can. I understand that for sure. Yep, Hope, 100%. I agree. Yeah, Dexter and the birds. I'm sitting outside. Oh, meow, right? Oh, can you imagine? That's what I'm saying. Like, if everybody just sits back and thinks for a minute, oh my God, you don't even have to have a kid with special needs to understand how horrifying this is. Marcy, and here's the thing, his scratches on his arm. I was thinking about that last night when I was sitting in Kathy's chat and there was conversation going on and she mentioned the scratches on his arms or something that he did. And I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, he's been missing for almost a month. That interview wasn't until at least, I think, a week after he had been missing. And those were fresh scratches. Meanwhile, they're trying to say that, oh, there's got to be something there because fresh scratches a week after the kid was missing makes a lot of sense, right? Yeah. She hit all of them. That makes sense. Absolutely file 2020. I think they hinder cases. Absolutely. I think they do. And I think they're hindering the justice that some of these cases will eventually get to. Thor, his Wikipedia page is hysterical because a lot of it's true. Wow. She was hiding them in real time as you were reviewing. Oh my God. Imagine that. I've heard I don't know much about her, but I've heard she's pretty terrible. But I saw your post and I was like, what in the absolute hell? Who has the audacity to make racist remarks about their last name? Like, this is the level that people are going to. It's never been about Sebastian. They don't give a fuck about Sebastian. And I hate to say that, but it's the truth. Oh, I'm glad you're doing a video on it unsupervised. Yeah, well, why don't you post unsupervised links in here, please? I would appreciate that. Oh, Revival, I have it. I don't know if I can bring it up on here or not. I'm on my phone. I have his missing flyer. I try not to mix in I need to do a live and just talk about the law enforcement details and put that up in a solid video like that. I don't like mixing in talking about his case and the actual factual details from law enforcement when I'm talking about opinion and speculation or these bad actors. I hate mixing the two. That's been something I've always struggled with. Somebody also was giving me shit about exploiting and monetizing these videos. Even the video I did yesterday, none of it was monetized until I was done with the video. Then I turned monetization off because I don't like you guys seeing ads. I won't make even 2 cents on the video. I don't care. I just want it in the algorithm. That's the only reason why I even turn it on afterwards. A lot of my videos don't get turned on. I could care less if they're in the yellow. I don't look at that shit. I don't care. This has never been about the money for me, and it never will be. It's not about the clicks and views. Like I said, I don't give a fuck if I lose subs. If I was here to worry about the sub count, I'd be stressed out every day because one day I'll go up a bunch of numbers and then the next day I go down a bunch of numbers because I speak the truth that people can't fucking handle and they don't like it. It just goes. Little Irish, I don't think she understands logic. Absolutely, Kim, they did. Yep, Irish girl. Yeah, he was calling him Roberts for the longest time, sis. I love that your name's Sis too. That's what we call Kenzie. Thank you, Kathy P. Whoa, she was alluding. Oh no. See, this is what I'm talking about. So, I'm not going to say anything else because that's nobody's business, but it is very common with kids with sensory issues for some, or kids with trauma or anything to, anyways, I'm not going to even, not even sexual assault trauma. Like, fuck these people. This just makes me sick. Makes me sick. Cash, you can. I'm just joking. Kim, I agree with you. There's so many cases of missing children. This has never been victim focused. None of these people. There's people that I once liked in these arenas that I thought had the victims in mind, and now I sit there and see that they're going through and speculating and pulling out every little detail that the parents might say one way or the other. Again, you can have your personal feelings on this, but God forbid anybody be in their shoes and have an entire group that are looking to find every little fuck up that you might have made, every little detail that you might not tell them how they want you to say it, the tone of your voice, if you're speaking too much, if you're not speaking enough, if you're, oh God. Thank you, unsupervised. Yeah, Heidi's mind, it's because there's very limited real facts on the case. Law enforcement has, cleared that Chris was away working out of town. Like, they have stated very few, like, this is the factual details. There's not much, unfortunately. I keep hoping that this is like Alyssa Navarro. I really keep praying, well, hoping, I don't really pray, that this is a better outcome than a lot of people are expecting. Yes, it is weird. Nothing unsupervised. None of these channels have ever been victim focused. None of them. None of them. None of them care. Shit, most of them condone the fact that they exploited a suicide attempt. Most of them don't give a fuck, truthfully. They don't care about Summer Wells. They care about chastising Dawn and Candace. They don't care about the actual, ugh. And I was thinking about the Summer Wells community last night. The ones that I know from that community or assume they're from that community that milk that case. And every single one of them, Voices Behind the Wall, Prayer Garden, Smiley's World, Ziggy, Tiffany Marie, Benny Keys, Dolly, I would put in that category. Spanky, they might not be from there, but that's the case they exploit the most, in my opinion. I'm missing a bunch. The Lab, Chris McDonough, all of them. There ain't one of those people that I'd want around my kids. Not a single one of them. Not one of them would I trust with my children. That's truthful. There ain't none of them that are ever going to look at me and tell me about my life. That I would laugh so fucking hard if any of those fuck ups attempted to say a goddamn word about my children and how I parent my kids or anything in my past, because look at that crowd. Look at that crowd. Yep, stolen leather. Yeah. Oh, your eyes moved the wrong way. They say they're professionals, Kim. Yeah, Petty, that's exactly right. They keep saying, why won't the parents go out there and search? Law enforcement doesn't allow most parents to go on searches. Secondly, there's safety concerns. These people that are doing candlelight vigils, they don't even fucking know. They don't know these people. Why would you go? Like, that's fucking weird, people. That's weird. Oh, file 2020. That was how I started my entire first year here. Was I came onto this, for those of you that are newer here, a U.S. Marine veteran, a black man, had attempted to take his life. And the reason I included his skin color was because of the stigma behind all of this with mental illness, and it's even worse in some ethnic groups and cultures and stuff. Like, there's a lot to it. But his own family and YouTube was exploiting his crisis, and he was in a coma for quite some time. Well, he was on life support, and then he was, unfortunately, no brain activity for a long time. He, almost a year, little over a year, I think, actually. Dates are a jumble in my head right at the moment, but I think it was a little over a year that he was in that state. And they exploited, I can't even talk about it without not wanting to cry. They exploited him to the utmost. Zero dignity was shown to him. The things that they have said and done about him when he was in that state. Now, granted, his wife was posting pictures, which I don't agree with, but it is what it is. That's her right. But she was posting pictures, and they would go through them and say the most horrific shit about her, her children. They've stalked her. They've harassed her. He's been gone since June of last year. And May. And they still do it. Yeah, the list is so long. I like some of Ken's stuff, but Ken doesn't focus on active cases. Exactly, Revival. And every single person has skeletons. Yep. Oh, I'm glad unsupervised. Thank you for doing that. The lab is a joke. I've only seen him a few times, but I can't stand him. When he came up on Smiley's World, I was watching that interview she did with Chris and Katie, and that arrogant piece of shit came up on panel and asked Chris a question. Chris answered the question very directly. And then he tried to twist it and turn it like multiple different directions to get Chris to fuck up. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, you piece of ever-loving trash? Like, what the fuck? All of them are, little Irish girl. They're all hand out. Their hands are out. Every single one of them. Kim, no, because they would follow him around. And they're doing it right now. They don't even have to be out searching. They're trying to be, yeah. Oh, sorry, guys. I just had to get this off my chest today. Like, it really is bugging me because I think of Kyle every day. Oh, Zab girl. Yeah, you're right, Elaine. She's fucking disgusting, too. And look at her. Look what she did to Gannon. Look what she did to fucking Gannon. And she is coming back. And she's almost to 100K. And she gets like 1,500 people in there. They don't give a fuck about the victims, you guys. How many times do I have to say this? These people are not caring about the victims. They don't give a shit about these families. Yes. Yes, Heidi. Yeah, recently diagnosed, kind of similar. I can't remember how long ago he was diagnosed. I'll go through and get the details, specific details with his missing flyer and all of that information and just do a short video. I'll try to get it done by tomorrow of the details that law enforcement has confirmed, just the factual stuff with his missing stuff, and put it up in a short video. I don't like mixing all of that stuff over here, but I'll do that because for highlighting purposes, I just don't like mixing any of that. Like, I hate bringing the victim in to the drama. Does that make sense? And it's really hard to separate it out. File 2020, it was absolutely the worst. The worst. Yeah. Unsupervised, did I watch that one? You've done some really great videos that are very victim centers. Unsupervised, she is something else. I've seen her through Spanky, through watching Spanky. Like, I've seen her name and stuff mentioned. But because of him, I was watching him the other day because he's been grifting off this. I went over and watched her because he was talking about it. Oh my God, what a fucking piece of shit she is. Yes, sis. Thank you for understanding. Yep. And to all of my families with kids with special needs, autism, all of my moms and dads out here with kids that are just normal kids too, that don't have any difficulties in that facet. They still have difficulties. It's still difficult to be a kid. It's still difficult to communicate. It's still difficult to understand these feelings and emotions and things that go on in life, especially in 2024. We're seeing things that I never thought we'd see. Kids aren't allowed to be kids. It's not safe, unfortunately, for them to go out and play in the dirt and run around the neighborhood and until the lights come on. It's a different arena now, and it sucks. It really sucks. Olivia is just a piece of shit, Marcy. I can't stand her. Still in leather, I know. Uh, Kel, thank you so much for that. Um, yeah, it's gotten so bad. Hey, Accounting by Day. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Zav is disgusting, y'all. I I would never let these. That's the crazy thing is like they expect these people to go out there and search with like, oh, welcome in Dolly and JLR and like, fuck out of here. You guys would welcome them in your homes and like want them to be a part of your like, fuck that. If those people showed up, sorry, no, get the fuck out of here. I wouldn't want them around anybody. Oh fuck, I gotta remember. I have class tonight from 6 to 8. Oh, beer can. I understand. Yeah, yeah. Oh, File 2020. I have heard a little bit that name has been coming up in some of the streams that I've been watching. I just went over and saw a little bit. I haven't had enough time over there to understand, but it looks a little bit iffy to me, if I'm being honest so far. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of getting to. I'm seeing a lot of grifting and dry begging, if I'm being honest. Now, again, social media can be a job. Get your coin, do whatever you want. But when you're using children and saying that you're bringing awareness, meanwhile, all you're really doing is condemning the parents, that's not really what's going on. Zav took no accountability. Her apology was disgusting. Yeah, no, I went back. I showed all of her shit in my live stream. I went and pulled old clips of her doing the same shit, exploiting in the Watts case, her disgusting behavior in the Watts case. I pulled all of that and went and looked through her shit and found how excited she was about putting it in Patreon, how calculated she was about all of it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Laws have to change. Yep. Kareen, absolutely. Thank you, Hope, for being here. Yeah, absolutely. They all do. They spread false information as fact. Thank you, Revival. Yeah, feel free. Elaine, I don't know who that is. Live for myself. I'm going to have to look at that. I'll remember to go look at the channel. There's very few true crime channels that I actually do like. And 99% of them that I like focus on closed cases, cold cases, things of that nature. Absolutely, mother of two boys. Absolutely. Um, Meowasaurus, I always get her and the other Grizzy confused. Grizzly's the one she from Sweden, Norway. I'm probably way off. That's Grizzly True Crime, right? Grizzly's the one from Texas, I think, if I'm correct. Uh, Hope. Well, no matter what, just remember that you're way more than your diagnosis. Those are just fancy words that you get to have. You are so much more than a diagnosis. And I'm sorry that you have to go through all that. Nisi, thank you for saying that. First of all, I'm really sorry about your loss and anybody that has suffered from losing somebody to suicide. But the blame that people feel on themselves, like people blame themselves enough, even when they had no responsibility. People feel so much guilt as it is, let alone having outside strangers who know nothing about your fucking life blame you for shit that you had nothing to do with. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's so fucked up, and I'm really sorry that you experienced that. They absolutely create chaos. That's all they do. JLR creeps you out. Yep, same here. Yep, mother of two boys, agree with you. You're okay, mother of two boys. Absolutely, praline queen. Absolutely. I wish the same thing. I wish people would realize, but people don't. And here's the thing: a lot of these people are very insufferable, and I don't mean that in, well, to some of them, yes, I mean it in a negative way. But they're miserable in their own lives, so they're okay with digging apart these people and paying for the speculation. And they sit there and say, "It's all for the victims. It's all for the victims. We're supporting these people because they're out there helping and their boots on the ground." But not one of them can tell you anything that they've done to help. All they do is create chaos, muddy the waters, and nothing ever happens from it. None of them have found a child. None of them have done anything to help. Yes, YouTubers who didn't make a spectacle out of finding Gabby found Gabby. Thank God for those people. Thank God there is some good people in this world. There's actually quite a few still. Imagine that. There's still a lot of really good people in this world. We just happen to be surrounded by some of the scummiest of the scum on YouTube. But if the money dried up, they wouldn't have. No, this has became a whole fucking full-time. When people can say that this is their job, that's where we're at. Oh my gosh. Marcy, that's horrifying. They almost called the cops on Alana at school. That's why we had to pull her out and put her in a smaller, because she has elopement problems. These are my biggest fears on a fucking daily basis. This is something I deal with every day. The middle one, God bless her soul, she is the sweetest, most compassionate, loving kid, but she has gone through hell and back. And like I said, we have a very open relationship, but she always gets worried about hurting me. She don't want to tell me certain things because she doesn't want it to hurt me. That's how kids behave. And these are my biggest fears. Like, I can't even imagine being in those parents' shoes. I cannot imagine how they feel, and don't ever want to feel that way, and don't want anybody else to ever feel this way. Oh, little Irish girl. And she set that up. Yeah, I do not delete my content. Nothing I have ever done has ever been deleted. Nothing. Not a single live stream. There's some, I think, members only ones that are just like goofy or whatever, but there's never once have I deleted my live streams. I say what I say, and fully, I don't give shit. Absolutely, Kim. Yes, agreed. And I'm so thankful. Can I just say one more time? Like, to the Islanders, to the other creators that come over here that I fuck with, which is very few, because so many of them are just as bad as the rest of them, masked behind, I don't even know what the fuck it is anymore. It's just such a disappointment. But to all of the Islanders, to everybody that's new coming in, thank you for coming in. Thank you for standing against this shit. Thank you for speaking up and saying something. Thank you for having empathy and sympathy and understanding that this could be any of us. I appreciate every single one of you. And it's going to take all of us together to continue to speak up and say, we're not taking this shit. Enough is enough. This is called the victims. This is what the victims, we should be focused on, is the victims, not the bullshit that they're doing to the victims. But they don't care about that. They don't care about the victims. They just want to vilify somebody, like I said. Yeah, absolutely, sis. Yep. You know, and there's so many missing children right now, too. Okay, thank you, Kareen. I always get those two confused in my head. Yeah, I like a lot of the cold case crimes. That's why I like Ken. Thank you guys for confirming that. Okay, South Africa, Netherlands. Thank you. I'm always wrong on stuff. Sorry. Yeah, Kim, it does. It shows a real big push, and people get so pissed at me because I don't sugarcoat shit, and I'm very blunt, and I'm not this like little. Here's my thing. I told Kyle last night. It really cracked me up though. I was telling him about all the things I've been called and said about lately, and I was telling him that somebody's worried about me using the Lord's name in vain and cussing, and I said to Kyle, I said, do you really fucking think with all the shit that's going on in the world that God has time to sit over here and judge me on my grammar and vocabulary and my use of explicit words? Like, do you really think that that's high up on his list of judging me? He's got bigger things to worry about, like Trump selling Bibles for $59.99. I mean, I'm me and my verbiage and language isn't his concern. And Christians, this is why I have such a problem. You're not judgmental, right? You're welcoming and open to everybody. You love thy neighbor. And then you condemn people for their use of language, when in reality that's the least of anybody's worries. Come on, people. Nisi, it absolutely is a vicious cycle. Oh, Meowosaurus, there's a lot. They can't get a regular job. Most of them cannot. That's why I did Fit and Curvy called it what it is. I flexed on them because to even be work with my own kids, there's things that I don't know, and things I need to learn, and things I need to help them and to help me. Like, I don't know everything. I'm learning. That's why I'm taking classes tonight. I'll be a habilitation specialist by the time I'm done with this, and I love it because I can learn to work with my girls and identify each of their individual needs, because everybody with special needs is different. Everything is different. There is a lot of good people, Christina. Yeah, sis, that's true. They don't search, they just drive around. Hey, Marie, thank you for coming in. Welcome. Little Irish, that's my girls. Oh, Praline, good thinking. Yep. Hey, Mark. Oh, yeah, more stupidity. Quentin was such a tragedy. Yeah, crazy how they didn't even follow up on that, right? They were using Quentin all along and talking about Leilani, but now they found their biggest grift. Sorry guys, I live under an airport and it's really loud and I'm on my phone. You guys are spending my morning with me. My girls are back in school from spring break. Well, one did a half day yesterday because we had appointments in the morning, and the other one's doing a half day today because we have appointments this afternoon. But I get some peace and quiet now, so I'm like back to normal and it feels so good. I am too, Praline. I'm an empath and I'm very sensitive about certain things. I'm very hard and cold about other things, but I'm super sensitive about stuff like this. When it comes to kids, special needs, trauma, addiction, suicide, those things are hard for me and they always will be. My mom tried to take her life when I was 19 and pregnant. One of my best friends when I was 16, her boyfriend attempted, well, he actually was successful, unfortunately, shot himself when she was on the phone with him when we were 16. I was the house she came to and fell on the floor when she walked in the door and collapsed. It changed her life forever. I laid on a guy who, when I was bartending when I was 18, he shot himself outside my bar with a 357 mag in the head. And he came in the bar because it didn't kill him. It went up and outside the side of his head. Trigger warning. Sorry, this is very graphic, but it is what it is. This is where a lot of my trauma comes from. Didn't it didn't incapacitate him, and he was holding his head on the side and took his hand away, and I'll never forget what I saw. I'm not going to go into detail, but I ended up getting him outside and laying on him for 10 minutes until the ambulance got there. Well, he went into shock, and I went into shock afterwards. And I still have nightmares and night terrors about that every single day. It is something I have never been able to get over. He did thankfully live, but it was a horrible situation. I have known so many people who have lost people to suicide. I have had family members attempt. I have, this is why, and so many of you can recognize and understand what I'm saying, because you guys have all had your same stories and you guys have been through shit. We all have. Every single one of us has been through shit and stuff that we have a hard time dealing with. I'm 41 years old. That was when I was 18, and I still cannot reconcile that in my head. I still can't. And I was angry and I went through all the emotions, but those spots for me are so sensitive because I know that there's pain behind those actions. I know that those actions come from a place that they wish there was something different. Nobody wants to have suicide ideation. Nobody wants to feel that they're worthless, that they are meaningless, that they're a burden. Nobody wants those things. Nobody wants to be in the shoes of being a parent of a missing child. Oh, we have a bunch of Kims in here today unsupervised. Sorry. Ringo, he does keep me in line most of the time. Most of the time. Actually, we're such a good couple. We were watching Cops the other day, and this woman was fighting the cop because they were trying to take her son to jail. So I was saying to Kyle, I said, if that's ever Kenzie, well, let's just let her go. Like, we'll just, and I was like, because I'm not fighting the cops for you or her. Somebody needs to come bail us out. And he's like, yeah, let's not do that. Somebody always has to bail us out. So if I get in trouble, you just let me go and then come. I was like, okay, plan. Freaking, we are ridiculous. Meowosaurus, I have a lot of religious trauma, so you'll hear me say a lot of shit. Bye, Corrine. Have a great day. I love the fact that most of you guys are blunt. I love that. And I love that so many of you come into my comments and say, I don't always agree with you. I don't always agree with you, but I agree with this and I agree with that. That's called life. I don't expect you guys. I wouldn't want somebody to agree with me all the time. Shit, Kyle doesn't agree with me all the time. Kenzie doesn't agree with me all the time. I don't want somebody to agree with me all the time. That's called human nature. But it makes me so glad to see so many people speaking up about this. She had court yesterday. Kim, I apologize. I do use that sometimes. I will apologize in advance. And I'm not saying these things to offend anybody. Like, it's just colorful language. There's no, I have religious trauma, but it's not intentional, like, to those. Yes, USA #1. Sorry, I'm reading comments now. Oh, sorry, guys. I didn't mean to. Brain spotting. I've never even heard of it, little Irish girl. Gosh, I know. I'm getting aged. The sun is aging me. I am an old soul, Petty. Yeah, you're right on that. I am. I've been through hell and back. And I don't, like, I'm not saying these things to, I don't want sympathy. This is called reality. All of us have been through some crazy fucking traumatic shit. We all have skeletons. We all have things that we fuck and deal with on a daily basis. These are just common. Like, you're not going to get out of this life without having some bumps and bruises along the way. And if you do, good for you. Again, you deserve your own planet and to be a Scientologist, because I don't know, Xenu must be perfect. I've never met somebody that doesn't. Yeah, there's a good group in here. A very good group of people in here. Hey, Claire, good to see you. I will. My oldest daughter did EMDR and actually really liked it. We got the girls back into therapy. This is why, you guys know Kenzie, so I can say this, but Kenzie the other day she had a conversation with somebody and it opened up some of her trauma, and she was glad to have the conversation, but she realized that she needed to go talk to somebody. So she made herself an appointment to get back into therapy, to get her mental health meds adjusted. And she knew she was struggling. She could identify it. She came to me, said, Mom, I know I need to do this. And she made her appointments and she went. And she came home yesterday from therapy and she has all these pamphlets and she was showing me like the fight or flight thing and what your body goes into and how it does it. And she was so interested and intrigued. She loved her therapist, absolutely adored her therapist already after one session, which is incredible. And she's going to go weekly. And it's such a proud thing to see because she has dealt with suicide ideation, as you guys know, for quite some time. You know, it started with the trigeminal neuralgia and the constant pain. And then she realized how much other stuff she needed to unload. And she is an incredible human being. I know, Praline, a lot of people have religious trauma. It's actually shocking to me and it's so refreshing to me. Not that I want anybody else to have religious trauma, but I feel so validated. That's one thing that I will say. Like, this is an outlet for me. This is like therapy for me to come on here and cuss people out that are doing terrible, horrific things. Like, I'm not out here thinking I'm better than anybody. No, that's never going to be the thing. But this is disgusting human behavior that all of us should be standing against. Nobody should be okay with what is happening to these cases. Nobody should be. I don't think I'm better than anybody. Fuck no, I make as many mistakes, if not more, than most people. But I'm human and I can own that shit and you move forward. And I would never do the shit to somebody else like they do. Never. Kenzie is incredible, y'all. Like, she is incredible. But there's times, many of you know that have had kids, like, it took a long time to get to this. There was a long time that I didn't sleep at night because I wanted to make sure she was still right there. I had to go check on her all the time. Like, it's been a process. But there's hope, there's hope. And all we can do is do our best and try to help them navigate. Everybody navigates through stuff. She's 21 years old. She got her first job. She's back in therapy. Like, she's kicking ass, but she still struggles majorly. And that's human nature, and that's okay. It's okay to not be okay. Yep. We have to stop standing and just remaining silent on these things. This is why, if we continue to remain silent on all this stuff, it's just going to continue. And we're seeing it. We're watching it grow legs and arms and other appendages. The struggle is part of her strength. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it was victims advocates, trained victims advocates that really helped Kenzie and I open our eyes. Like, I have sat in therapist's office and got my ass scolded over shit that I was doing wrong. And I took that and yeah, I pitied myself for 5 minutes and was like, oh, fuck. And then I realized, God damn, they didn't tell me that to judge me. They told me that so I can better myself and lessen my stress and also help whoever it is. Like, sometimes you need an outsider's perspective to wake you up, truthfully. Yeah, the Catholic Church. Ooh. To err is human, we must remember this, but to not learn from it is a problem. Absolutely. Oh, meow. I have a 13 and a 14-year-old going on 14 and 15. And let me tell you, these are my biggest fears. Yep, absolutely hope. Absolutely agree. And it's not okay to weaponize our struggles to diminish somebody else. A lot of these people that are attempting to diminish these families are not happy with where they are in life. It's a reflection of who they are. Misery. They're miserable human beings. And if somebody was to do to them what they do to others, they could never stand there and take it. They couldn't. There's just nothing. Absolutely. And remember, 988. I've learned quite a bit about Buddhism and I really like it. Sometimes I'm too much of an empathy. I let people walk all over me because I want to see the good in a lot of people. I'm very two-sided, so I'm very empathetic on some parts if it's something emotional or like something I can connect to in that way. I have a lot of empathy and oftentimes I do get walked over because I want to see the best in somebody, but then there's other people that I see what it is right from the jump, and there will never be any changing, and I don't have any time for that in my life, and I don't invite that toxicity into my life. And then others. So I think we all have those like sides to us. Yeah. But you know what? Here's the thing. Like, think about Chris and Katie for a moment. Think about what the internet is doing to them. And again, we don't know what the circumstances are, but just think about how much they've condemned them from their chairs thousands of miles away because they're all the perfect asshole parents. Some of them aren't even parents. It's just gross. Just fucking gross. All right, y'all. I think I'm off my soapbox for this morning. I got to go get ready to go. I just wanted to have this open conversation. It was on my heart, and I just feel as so many of you have children or have been in circumstances similar to this and could be condemned, and all of us need to take a self-reflection moment and realize that when you're looking for something, you're going to find it. If you want to condemn somebody, you're going to find any little thing that you possibly can. That's called bias. You're going in with a bias. You're looking for a reason to condemn these people. If you take things at face value and just keep it moving, and if it was ever about Sebastian, the focus would be on Sebastian, not every single word that is said. And these people who are claiming that they're doing it for Sebastian, that's not ever been the intent. That's never been the intent, because if the focus was on finding Sebastian, they wouldn't be focused on two little words or the tone of Chris's voice. They would be focused on, okay, what was he wearing? Where was he last seen? Can we get people there? Do we know if there was anything here? That would be their worry. And the rest would come after law enforcement arrests somebody or they find out more answers. That's it. That's it. Ooh, Kathy P. Kathy, drop your link. Kathy, drop your link, please. Y'all go sub up to Kathy. Kathy's been pulling out some Betty stuff that I've never seen before. And oh my God, it makes me angry. Oh, Meowsaurus, thank you for being here. Mark, I'm sure the Catholic Church, there's a lot, and not just in the Catholic Church, there's a lot of a lot of abuse that gets covered up with religion. Yeah, Heidi's mind. I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of that girl. And you know what? Some of us adults always wanted to hear from our parents that they were proud of us. I know that there's many people out here, many children in our generation, that their parents came from the generation where tough love, right? They didn't say they were proud of you very often. It was more the tough love generation. My parents were definitely more the tough love. And I tell my kids almost daily that I'm proud of them, that I love them, even if they had a bad day or I had a bad day or we're not seeing eye to eye. They always know that I'm proud of them, that I love them, and that they're doing the best they can. And that's all that we expect. And it's okay to not be okay. Those conversations with your kids, if you've never had one, try it. It really does change a lot. Just to look at them and say, they know that people are proud of them. Thank you, Soul Mother, for being here. Hey, Running Bear. Hey, Perry. Yes, Kim, absolutely. Oh, Perry, I'm sorry. Please go sub to Kathy P. Unsupervised Maniacs has been dropping some great videos and a very victim focused. Hey, Unsupervised, are you still in here? Is that free class for victims advocacy? Do you recommend that? I know you put it in your links, but do you recommend that one? Because I want to take some victim advocacy courses just so I want to be able to help in any way, shape, or form. And I think knowledge is power. So anything I can learn, I'm all about that. I've taken so many classes lately. My brain's a little fried. But if you recommend that, I would love to take those classes to begin with. Absolutely, Little Irish Girl. That's all we can do. Absolutely. Thank you guys for all coming in. Gosh. Okay, very basic but good. It's a good starter point, though. Okay, you guys, just a reminder too, what I'm talking about is if you really want to learn the basics, I think it's from what I've looked at it a little bit so far, but I wanted to ask you. Um, it looks like the very basics of victims advocacy, like an introduction kind of thing. It's a free course that Unsupervised has posted in her links in her videos. If anybody else wants to take it, I have looked at it so far. I am going to take it and then try to do more as it goes on. But I think we could all, in this day and age, knowledge is power. And I think we could all use a little bit more understanding. I know I could. I get so nervous and anxious when telling victims, like having them tell their truth or whatever. I always worry about my interactions and am I saying the right things? Am I asking the right questions? Like, am I overstepping? Like, I really worry about that. So, anything I can do to help victims, I will continue to do that. Good therapy, Sash. So, please feel free to go. Oh, Unsupervised. Thank you so much. Yes, you guys go check out Unsupervised. She posts that, and I will be taking it. If you guys want to take it as a group, we can. But I think that it would be wonderful for more of us because there's just, and every victim is different. Every situation is different, and learning the basics of how to lead from empathy and how to, put things in the right position and really be victim first focused, I think is always helpful. Oh, Nisi, I'm so glad that you're educated about that. Unfortunately, you have to be educated because you've went through horrible things. And to all of you, again, that have lost somebody, that have been in situations like this, my heart goes out to you. You guys are all survivors and warriors, and I appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful day, y'all. I will see you guys later. And it's free and it's at your own pace. Two huge things. It's free, and you can do it at your own pace. Mark, I don't know anything over there. He joined my membership and came into one of my chats recently. Then I realized he's still buddies with Molly, and I was like, I got you. I see what you're doing. Okay, carry on. I could care less. I don't have a clue over there, to be honest. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful day. Please stay safe out here. Please take the time away that you need. I know this is heavy for a lot of us, especially the special needs mamas and daddies. Sending you all big hugs going through this because I know many of you are feeling the same way I am. So together we will continue to stand against this bullshit. I appreciate every one of you for being here and saying something and standing up and using your voices. It's going to take all of us. So with that said, have a wonderful day. Bye, y'all.